Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish.
Well, clear the pipes. Well, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. And how's everybody doing? This morning we've had lots of active chats today. Discord is going wild. Big conversations here. Good morning, Joey. How are you?
I'm good,
And
Father
thank
Fish.
you, I'm good. Thank you, Fish and Tactics, for your
Thank you for
super
the
chat
super.
this morning.
And
Right
for those,
right out of the gun.
and for those who celebrate,
Hello,
Happy
Captain
Day.
Terry. Hello. Delightful.
Yeah. So, wow, we got a good crowd in this morning. I'm
Yes.
going to ask everybody to hit the thumbs up right now. We'll remind you as we go along. I'm going to start right into our hellos because I didn't get here early enough to type in any hellos. I was running. So, good morning. I'll start with Fish and Tactics. This shows up first on my screen. Good morning. And you also gave that wonderful super chat. So thank you. Glassbox Fox, Dennis Lord, James Handy is in the house. Waterculture, Compass Mentis, Xanadu, Brad Hobbies, Paul C, Jeffrey Booster, and then who I got to scroll because you guys have been, as usual, busy talking. Dennis Lord, Edgar
Petroman.
Catfish Terry's here this morning. Hello.
Edgar Reyes.
Welcome. Yeah, Frugal Aquatics, TJ, my sister Stephanie's here. Karuna Naresh is here.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hannah.
Brad Hobbies.
Tisha is here with us today. Andres. And I'm getting down Patrick Murphy, and I think you already said Petroman Joe, so I think we're kind of hitting the same area here.
Hello, Rich.
Emilio's One Wanderer, welcome. Stephen the biologist, haven't seen you for a couple days, Stephen. Good to see you. And Aquatic Nest, good morning, and yes, happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. Tam Shepherd. Fungus Fish, Andy. Chevy Fish is in the house.
One Wanderer is here. Good morning, One Wanderer.
And it's Stephen Cooper. So I'm at the bottom.
Are you? Okay.
There we go. And I hope I didn't miss anybody because I was moving.
We got to get hail.
Yeah.
We
So
got
I mean, I'm not a green beer drinker myself, but you know. I just don't like beer. I would, if I liked beer, no problem with it being green. My son hasn't said anything to me because he's always all about those green fraps.
I'm a biologist. I have interns here today. They're watching and listening with.
Well, Stephen just also super chatted you. Thank you, Stephen.
I got that up. Oh, I don't have it up.
No, you don't.
There it is. Right.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Right out of the gate. He and Fish and Tanks. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Delightful. Nice to have everybody here.
Hey, does it make green bud? Does it make that Budweiser taste better? Because I've heard it's not that great.
Chris just got his stimulus check.
Oh, good. Oh, good morning, Lori. Thank you for coming in. Chris Trapp. Yep. Good morning.
T-Bone. Hello, T-Bone.
Hello, T-Bone. I know T-Bone yesterday. Didn't realize we'd had that time change. Sorry.
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah.
Rick Murphy.
So I think, I hate to do this to anybody if you did ask a question, but I think I'm not going to scroll back because it just starts messing with it.
There was a big discussion earlier on the chat about air pumps and systems.
Okay, well, if you want to, expand on that a little, that's fine. But I
really don't want to.
Okay.
not because I don't think it's important. I think it's vital, but because I'm not up to date with it.
Okay.
You're up to speed, I should say.
Okay.
I need to do something here, so I'm going to go back and check that out and then begin to look at what I can do in my fish room, because I need to do something. I got a bunch of little 2 and 4 valve air pumps.
Yeah. It is nice if you can run off like a linear pump or something. I mean, you might not need one that big for 10 or 12 tanks, but if you got a big setup, it's, as you know, good to have that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I got rid of my big one.
Use the manifold.
I had a half horsepower blower.
Sure. Yeah.
And of course, I also had a big Merlin RO system.
Yeah.
So both of those are gone.
Yeah, you can get a good size pump, one pump that'll run everything you're doing for the house, though.
Yeah.
It's not that crazy money-wise.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Hello, Hans. Just give me the
Hans Aquarium. Nice to see you, Hans.
Here.
Grand hobbies.
So anyway, if anybody does have a question, if you could drop it in the chat moving forward, we'll just keep yapping.
Right.
About something until somebody would, like to ask a question.
Well, I've got an issue I need to bring up. And I'm doing this. Without the counsel of my co-host Joey. In fact, Joey made it very clear to me that I should not bring this up. And right now, what's going through her head is, which of the 15 topics we have discussed
I told him not to bring it.
Am I gonna blow now? Well,
don't make me too mad. That's all I'm saying.
It's not the worst of them. No, it's not.
It's not the worst. Okay.
I will. No. I caught Stephen on Discord this morning and asked him to come over because I'm having an issue that I've been working on for a few days, and it's not getting better.
Yeah.
And I thought Stephen might be helpful. And Joey was very helpful. She's talked with me about it, and I've taken her advice.
And I had to laugh at the end of that, and I was like, I'm just happy to help you with your fish tank. That was off air. When I gave him advice on his fish tank.
And it was excellent advice. Excellent.
Anyway,
and I took it, and it hadn't done a bit of good. But that's not her fault.
It might not in 24 hours, but okay.
Well, all right. Well, okay. So here, let me kind of presage this. James Handy is saying I need a diaphragm pump, but check out linear. Yeah, I will. I'll talk about the linear system. Yeah. Let me set this up.
Okay, you do it.
One of the things that I have been doing for the past number of years is talking about designing and helping people create natural aquariums. And that means different things to different people. and I'm not at all sure what it even means to me, frankly. I mean, I have decided I'm going to do a series of master classes, and the first one I'm going to do is on natural aquarium. And I'm already stuck because I don't begin to know how to approach the subject. I've tried to kick it off a couple of times and just it's fallen apart. But anyway, aside from all of that, what I'm trying to do here with these half a dozen tanks I've got, it's really, I think I'm up to 11 tanks, is create natural systems. Now, all of these tanks are tanks that I brought over from my old shop that had substrate in them. Some of them had plants, a few had fish. And I've started with that. I live on a creek. It's a tidal creek. So water is flowing, it's sloshing back and forth every day. The tide comes in, it sloshes in. The tide goes out, it sloshes out. So every day that water's sloshing up and sloshing back. It's not like a stream. If there's a lot of rain, it will be because all that runoff from the rain will wash it all out. But frankly, we've not had a heavy rain here for a number of months. So this water is essentially, it's not still water. It is what I referred to as sloshing water. It's a long enough creek that the water goes up and the water comes back, and it's pretty much the same water. There's very little intrusion because it's a big volume and it moves and then it moves back with the tides. So it just kind of sloshing around like water sloshing in a bowl. Well, I did not give that due consideration when I filled my tanks. And so I've got water in my tanks that has a number of issues. Number one is it's yellow. Um, Now, let me show you a couple of things here. These are two tanks. This you'll recognize is the old 33. That's the 20-year-old tank. And what I have in here are what are they called? They're pupfish. CINAP. I can't think of the word.
What?
They're pupfish.
Right.
They're
You're looking for the
the scientific name I can't think
I
of
don't
it.
know it. I don't know it. Yeah.
Anyway, these are a native fish that are doing very well. They love it in here. This is in the creek water. They're spawning. There are eggs all over it, so they're doing just fine. This tank down here, the one next to it, is a 40 gallon. I've had lots of different kinds of fish in here. I currently have about a dozen little flounders. There are a couple of crevendus I got at the Tampa Club meeting. There are some little plecostomus and some natives. There's a golden top minnow right there looking at us. And they're all doing fine. Everything in there is fine. You can see that water is a little murky. Part of that's because the glass is not being cleaned, but actually it's because it's a little murky. The plants are not bad. They're doing all right. The tank basically looks okay.
Yeah.
Then I've got
So what
some
you're
other.
saying,
I'm
you're
sorry.
saying your natives are doing well. The
The
natives.
natives are doing great. Yeah, and in this tank in which I have natives and tropicals mixed, they're all doing okay. No problems.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
Yeah.
I've got some others that I'm not going to get into right now, but this tank is the problem. If I can get any more wire here without tearing myself
Okay,
apart.
as you go, people are coming
Oh,
in.
oh. Let me
Say
see if
hi.
I can get some water clear.
Sunset Jen, the Harry Wood.
Tangled up here.
Well, he's tangled up.
There we go.
Good morning.
All right. Here's the problem. These are rainbow cichlids. Now, they're looking a little better than they've been, but they're still darting around. They're flashing.
Did you
They're
medicate?
ganged up in a little bunch. What I've done is I did a 75% water change,
Yep.
and I treated with General Cure.
Yep. That's what we
Okay.
found out. But like I said, it might not
So I've
look
done that, and
perfectly.
I've got the temperature up to about 88 degrees, above
Okay.
85. And
Okay.
they're still sickly. They look bad. They look to me, they act to me as if they have parasites.
Right.
My guess is gill flukes.
Well, which is where the general care is going to come in. But you're going to
Yeah.
medicate. You're going to do. I can't remember, but it's like 2 days
Yeah.
and the 25%
2
water
days in a
change.
row. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
You're going to medicate
So
daily.
I treated heavily with GQ, General Cure,
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah.
And there, anyway, so there it is. So we've got, I poisoned my fish, James said.
Well, yeah, I mean, Andy, sure,
Actually,
ammonia is a consideration, but I think with the 75% water change, you would have eliminated that as well. And
fungus
this is an established tank too. This isn't a new tank. This is a tank you brought from the store.
yeah,
So,
it's an old established tank. That's right.
so it should be able to handle the ammonia, but the 75% water change should take care of that problem if it wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
You got the temperature. I think you're. I mean,
Yeah.
first.
Let me also say, when I
Yeah.
did the water change, I did not replace the water with creek water. I replaced it with tap water that I treated with sodium thiosulfate to
Which
get
we
rid of the chlorine. Yeah, just free chlorine. I got rid of the free chlorine.
Right.
Well, now see, here's King saying it's almost amazing to see that even Father Fish has fish going sick. That's really why I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
To demonstrate that sick fish happen to everybody.
Everybody
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and it can happen. It can happen for reasons that you, and typically does, for reasons you don't think of. I did not consider the issue of the water I was using and that sloshing effect. In other words, the effect that really what I've got is very old water that probably is loaded with pathogens.
Yeah.
Simply because it is old water that's not been rinsed out, washed out, drained out.
The only time that would happen would be in a heavy rain.
Right, because we have not had a heavy rain. It's
Right.
not good, clean, clear, new
Yeah.
water. It's old water.
Yes.
And it's so there we have it. All right. So Stephen is with us, and I'm curious as to what his take is on this.
Mhm.
Aquatic nests likes to use metronidazole and garlic flakes, medicated food. I've used the medicated foods. I like them. It's a way of being able to get medication into the fish. I think in this case, it's not the issue because I believe this is a parasite. When there's flashing, scratching, scraping, it's
Well, the
typically
problem is, Stephen's left you something in here, but the problem is too, is the medicated foods. I totally am with medicated foods, but if they're not eating, then
these are eating. They are eating.
good.
So I can do it.
Yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to doing both medicated food and internal and external treatment. Yeah.
You said Stephen's got a comment.
Yeah, at 9:20, and I'm just going to let you read it so that you can.
Oh, there we go.
Visually.
Scale lines are very dark. Something affecting all of them, absolutely. Do you know the difference from your tap and water you use? They're organisms and protozoans. Um, Yes, the difference in the water. The difference. Oh, you mean the?
He just
Yes,
he just added something else at 9:21, Father Fish.
native the area. That's not in other areas. Reef members not raised in that area have a worse effect. They're only found in that area. Interesting.
Hmm.
Not for fun using creek water approval says
Hello, David.
mine fluctuates. That's interesting, Frugal.
Yeah. Hi, Sunset Jen.
He's saying it fluctuates too much.
Yeah.
Huh.
Hi, John.
Let me back up to Stephen's comment. The
Okay.
let's see. The water. I tested the creek water for salinity. That's actually the only test I've run, and it has none. I did not get any significant jump in
Not
in,
bracket. Yeah,
in
it's not.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not effectively brackish, even though it's tidal. It does not seem to be brackish, and that may simply be because it's flowing. It's flowing off a string of ponds that are well north of us. It also flows off of the Peace River, about 10 miles, about 10 miles up creek. The Peace River flows into it. Um,
Mhm.
Again, that's a long way off, and at this point in time in Florida, because there have not been big rains, all of the water is pretty much sloshing water, if you will. Now, the Peace River, at least in the upper regions, is not sloshing. It's flowing, but it's flowing fairly slowly. There's not been a lot of rain, so there's not a lot of movement. And this is a tributary. It's curious. It's a tributary off of a river. You almost never have that. You get it with canals, but this is not a canal. This is actually a creek that's flowing off of a major river, not into it, but off from it, and going into the bay at a completely different location. The Peace River flows in down in um, well south of us, 40 miles south of us. This creek flows into uh, Venice Bay, 40 miles to the north, and yet it's the same. It's a different tributary, but off the same main branch. It's just kind of odd because it's tidal. There is this sloshing effect. Anyway, the water, the water is the water coming out of the tap is treated only with free chlorine. There are no chloramines in it, um, and it is reduced hardness. So the hardness is the KH is about 6 or 8. The general hardness is in the area of 25 to 35 in that range. The water in the creek is substantially harder,
Yeah.
uh,
So
largely because of the tidal, the bay,
yeah.
saltwater influence.
So what Stephen is talking about is, the possibility of it being a specific parasite to your area, and he says I can list a few parasites that are only found in that area. They hold on, I have to scroll down to get the rest of it. Have a high resistance. One coming to mind that is similar to a fluke resides in the gill. There is 3 parts that make a gill: filament, arches, rakers. I think you need to target treat. And I don't know. Yeah, I think they have also made their way into the track system, which is what they do when they are dying, in attempt to prolong life and turn making the fish more sluggish. Right.
Sluggish, right? Yeah, into the track
I mean,
system.
yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, certainly, if they're eating, I would try to get medicated food into them too. But
Okay, yeah.
so I guess the question, Stephen, is: do you think the general cure will have any effect, or you're saying he needs to put something directly on the gills? Is that what you're saying?
I'm about to call the co-op today, I think.
So anyway, Charles Christian Jr., thank you. Welcome for coming in. You can see that you're
Okay,
new.
so I'm going to consult with Stephen on this a little more.
Yeah, I think you should. You guys can have a
Stephen,
conversation.
are you interested in coming up and discussing this? I'd love to have you up. I know
We
you
never
don't.
get him to come up.
You never get him to come up. He doesn't want to.
But
Well,
will you come up to help Father Fish?
he may have his reasons.
Well, he might have an appointment. I mean, he is running a business. So.
Well, he is. That's true. He did
Yeah, he
say
might not.
he's
Yeah,
got interns with him today.
yeah. Good morning, Susan and
So
Rob.
anyway, if you would like to do that, Stephen, I'd love to have you up here to chat with for a bit. In the meantime, my next approach, following a bit more conversation with Stephen, will be to call the Florida Tropical Fish Farmers
Yeah,
Co-op,
yeah.
um, get them on the line, and get some medications shipped out. I can have them by tomorrow,
Yeah. Good morning,
and I'll
Lisa.
get the medicated food plus whatever else I need. Now they're in touch with the lab. The lab is a facility that's created by the Florida University system as a laboratory, a freestanding laboratory, specifically working with the tropical fish farmers of Florida. So the co-op is the branch of all of that that gets product out to the farmers. So they're all working cooperatively. Steven says general cure helps in a blanket sense, but
Yeah.
with certain parasites, you need to target treat.
So I guess you need to know what to treat with.
Precisely.
So yeah. Well, we'll see what he comes back in with. Um,
Well, that's great, Steven. Let's
okay.
do.
Prescriptions and do an invoice search in your area to see what
Are
they
you
have.
in touch with the co-op, Steven? Because I'm a member there, and I can. They have a pretty good pharmacology, um, pharmacy, I should say,
Yeah.
pharmacological supply. So I can get using fresh garlic.
Yeah,
Robert,
Robert's asking about the fresh garlic. I guess we could go on to talk about
yeah,
that, right?
yeah, absolutely. I need to take a break. If you can excuse me for a minute.
Okay. All right. Um, so, I've been watching people come in, and I'm sorry because I don't want to interrupt him and say hellos. I've been trying to shout in a few here and there, but I know a lot of people have come in. And thank you for coming in. And happy St. Patrick's Day to those who celebrate. I'm not Irish, but I'm all for having fun. Oh, I probably have some Irish in there. I mean, we're a melting pot, right? um, so anyway, if you could give Father Fish a thumbs up, that would be awesome. I'll say that while I'm in here, and then we'll get back to the garlic question when he comes back. And I know. I mean, you can. I had mixed myself. I've tried the garlic. Some of the fish will actually eat it pretty well, but I've struggled sometimes with getting all of them because I just wanted to try it. I knew it wouldn't hurt anything, and I was like, okay, I'll try this. But some definitely eat it better than others. So I don't know. We'll see what he says when he comes back. But I'm wondering if you couldn't maybe chop it up really fine or mince it, whatever, mash it, do something, and add it to a food and dry it back out. I wonder if that would give you the same result. We'll see what he says when he comes back. Yeah, I mean, I agree where that general cure usually fixes the normal ones that I think we see in our tanks, but with him using that creek water, I think he's brought in something else. Um, Good morning, Deborah. Well, Fish and Tactics. Thank
Hi.
you. Thank you, Fish and Tactics, for the super
Yeah.
chat. Sue Ann Campbell. Good morning, and yes, happy St. Patrick's Day. But anyway, I think he's brought something in. Obviously, that's what Stephen's making reference to. That isn't going to be fixed by the usual general cure. I think it was a good way to start, and it may have given you some time, Father Fish, treating with the general cure. Like you said, stay it off a little, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Give you the time to get the other mix. Give you.
I can do garlic too. I'll do that today.
A little help.
Yeah.
Water, yeah, in the water. So the garlic question. I was saying that I just wanted to try the garlic because you're always talking about feeding the garlic. So I did try a few days of it. Some fish ate it better than others. So I was wondering, for the ones that won't eat it well, can you maybe mash it and add it to a food and re-dry it? Could you do that and get the same effect?
Yeah.
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 So,
You don't even need to re-dry it. You can just, because it's got a lot of juice in it, you can get that juice in the food. The trick is to get it not in a flake, but in some kind of a pellet, so that it stays in there a little longer, long enough for you to eat it. If it's in a flake, it's going to wash out.
Yeah, I agree. But I was just like, I tried it in a few of the tanks, and some of the fish, like I said, were very willing to try it and eat it, and others were like, "What is this?"
Right. Well,
I just did it as a
UV sterilizer. Mr. B's asking if a UV sterilizer would help. Certainly, it would help with anything that's swimming around in the water column.
Yeah.
And if you got adequate flow, so that you're able to get the bulk of that water volume through the filter. The problem with the UV, of course, is that it kills everything, so beneficial and bad.
Good morning, Howard.
Deborah's used
and that's a good idea too.
Yes, absolutely.
So you're getting sort of a double dose for an internal, parasite treatment. So, but like I say, it's all good ideas, and then everybody tries things and see what they can,
Fish and wings is tarred and feathered. That's funny.
Yeah. So, so anyway, I guess play with it. Get the fish to eat it any way you can.
Right.
That's I would say is the best way. So T-Bone's having trouble with his back.
Stephen is suggesting that that not following up after the general cure will allow the parasite to recycle and build up resistance. Yeah.
No, 100%. T-Bone's struggling, I think, with his Father Fish. He said it's been laying, I think, on the bottom. I'm just remembering what I read. Laying on the bottom, not eating. So, once they get to the point where they're not eating T-Bone, it's really tough.
Try a major water change.
Yeah. So
just put them in all new water.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if you mix it in with Rapashi, absolutely. Just I I would almost puree the garlic then, put it in something, puree it, and add that to the amount of liquid that you're going to add to your ripashi. And that would be a great way to mix it up for sure.
Yeah, Patrick's asking what the garlic does. It's an antibacterial that also has anti-parasitic quality.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it won't hurt them. I know some people say how they feed it once a week as a precaution.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just part of their routine. And yeah, word on my says it helps expel the parasites. So, I don't
Robert
think that's ever a bad idea. Yeah.
Robert Gorlick has good advice. Um, the parasite leaves eggs, and those aren't touched by meds.
No, I go on the same principle. When it comes to my fish, I use the same principle I do with my dogs and my horses. And if you, as a minimum on a new horse, if you get it in, I worm it, and then 2 weeks later, because of that egg cycle, I worm again. And then if I've got a really, crazy horse that I feel is wormy, then I keep going. But I think you have to do the two treatments for it to be effective, no matter what, every 2 weeks. And they don't say that on the packages, really. I don't think they tell you to do this and you're good. But 100% right about the eggs. Doesn't
Thank you,
kill the eggs.
Stephen. I'll give you a buzz after the stream, and we'll talk.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Um,
I should add that Stephen is on Discord
yes.
virtually daily, and is constantly interacting with people on Discord. He does this all day long, every day. I mean, Stephen's got a very busy practice, but in the middle of dealing with people coming through the door and phone calls and other modes of communication, he hangs on our Father Fish Discord channel, where he is continuously accessible and available. So if you have not been over to Discord, there are 150 or so uh, uh, people on there, on and off throughout the day and week. It's a great opportunity for conversation about fish, as well as personal kinds of things. Um, it's a good chat format, a really good chat format where you can post pictures. And so there's a lot of that going on. People posting pictures of their aquariums, of issues they're having, and so forth. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have not checked out Discord, the link is on my channel page under community. That'll get you over there. I need to assign you a a category once you get there in order for you to be able to post videos or pictures. But I'm happy to do that. Send me a note any way you can. I'm there at least once a day, and we'll get you going on it. Great format.
We're done with it. Yeah, that's why it is. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Okay. King says, can Epsom salt be added as a general aid directly to the tank and a normal healthy tank? Should also work as a nutrient for plants in the tank. Can it be done? If yes, at what dosage and how frequently?
Not
Exactly. So.
Yeah, Epsom salts is a salt,
Right.
and it acts like a salt. Um, it has more magnesium in it than regular salt water does, so it probably has some additional curative properties. Um, Before there was salt, industrial salt available and packaged for the industry, there was Epsom salts. Epsom salts was used to create the first saltwater tanks. So it is a salt and has all the properties of salt. What it does for a fish is slow down its metabolism. It's not a curative particularly, although there are some parasites and other critters that will not live in a salt solution. But keep in mind that it's not something you increase the dosage with, because by doing so, you're increasing the salinity and thereby changing the general hardness of water. Um, it does not have curative properties so much, although Epsom salt is better than sea salt in that sense. What it does is slow the fish's metabolism down, giving it a chance to build up its attempts to. Oh, excuse me, my eye is bothering me. We've
Good
got
morning,
hot.
Florida Fisherman. Oh yeah, I know. You said you've been having problems for a few days with your. Yeah. Um, hello, Patrick. Good morning. Are you done there? Or did you want to say a little
Yeah,
bit
go
more?
ahead. It's fine. Yeah.
You're good. Okay. Someone
Stephen,
was informed.
Stephen was reinforcing the Discord comment.
Right. Um, someone was mentioning to be careful about the scaleless fish, that they're more sensitive to salt, and that's a good point.
You
And
bet.
Chris Trapp is wondering if you run your tanks always at 82 degrees.
Typically, although what I'm doing here is very different, and that's the other thing I wanted to say. I am I'm running a kind of an experimental project here by bringing the creek water in. To get back to my first comment about natural or native aquariums, I'm trying to let the aquarium sort itself out. And I can't do that with this one because if I do, I'm going to lose the fish.
Right.
So I'm concerned about that. Now, when I did the water changes yesterday, I did I did one, two, three. I did four tanks. I did the angel tank. I did a 50% water change on the angel tank. And you can see it's still a little cloudy. I expect that's green water. Sort of looks like it. I did a 50% on the salamanders, and that water's cleared up a bit. It's still very green water, but they're moving about and seeming happier. I did this tank, which is alongside the one the rainbows are in. I have convicts in there primarily. Um, and but what I'm doing with these is, as I said, I'm just letting them sort themselves out, which is why they don't look very nice. They look kind of cluttered and muddied and whatnot, but that's deliberate. I put some new plants in, uh, and the plants are doing all right. They're not dying, at least. Um, so anyway, that's kind of the issue in the plan.
Okay.
Here, there they are, hanging at the top,
Yeah.
not looking happy at all.
Good morning. Why not in Wyoming? Okay, so I got a question. Since we're talking about your tanks, how long were those fish in that setup before they started showing signs of being sick, being stressed?
About a week.
Okay. Um, so now I mean, I have questions I can ask you. I mean, how much do you want to talk about these tanks? You want to just go for it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then what comes to mind for me is you have put that water in every one of your tanks.
Correct.
So you have potentially exposed every fish you have to this
Yes,
parasite.
absolutely right.
And so what
That is, in
makes you
fact,
think, yeah, as I say, so what makes you think you're only going to have that problem in one tank?
well, I'm having a problem. In fact, I noticed this morning with the convicts scraping.
Yeah.
So I'm having a problem in here.
So this is territory you don't like. My feeling is if I were you and having this problem, I would be treating every tank. That's me.
Well, right.
Because
I've
you've
got,
exposed them.
I have shell dwellers in here and in
Mm-hmm.
here. I did not do a water change on these. I've not noticed any kind of unusual behavior at all in these tanks.
Yeah. Chevy
And
Fish
then
is asking, she's asking, is there airflow or circulating water in the tank, Father Fish? She's just asking, do you have any filtration? Do you have any airflow in all these tanks?
I have sponge filters in all the tanks.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's immediately what comes to mind for me. You use the same water on all the tanks. It's taken, a little over a week. You're starting to see the signs, and I'm like, oh no. I would. I'd be like, I gotta do every tank.
Yeah,
But that,
word Dunlap is suggesting burning the fish room and bleaching his hands.
well, and I'm basically just saying to you because this is not the territory that you're used to being in. You've done something that seemed like a great thing to do, and you may have found yourself in a little bit of a mess, and it's not where you usually are. So,
Right. But
you've not
I,
experienced
and I
it.
tell you, I'm really not embarrassed about this. I mean, I
Yeah,
probably should be. If I were, if I had a lot of ego tied up in it, I would be. But I kept fish for so long. I'm used to things happening. Things
yeah.
happen,
But
you
I
know.
just think it's going to snowball. I think it's not going to be the one tank. That's my way of thinking with this. And I'm not scientific. I'm not Stephen the biologist. I'm just Joey, the fish keeper.
But Stephen's saying the same thing.
you know.
Yeah.
Um, but just having had obviously fish pretty much my whole life and animals, I know how things go. So
Well, whatever it is, it's a
that's
fairly
where
slow. It's a fairly slow. It's not something
yeah,
that
you've got
pops
time.
out all of a sudden. Yeah, it's more
No,
slow.
so you've got time to get on the other tanks before it becomes a problem.
Stephen, I said from the very start of the here it is. Let me get this comment
Yeah.
of the nature water system, nature water tank subject. It's very important you have a way or system to keep the water constantly changing, or you would run into issues. It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I could do that, but I don't want to do that again with this same water. I'm not altogether happy with the water. Now, maybe after we get into the rainy season, I may feel very different about it. But at this point, I'm not anxious to repeat to put that same water back in there. So I
Well,
do have water I can use. I'm setting up barrels.
yeah.
I've got a number of barrels that will be set up. Uh, I'm going to be capturing rainwater when that becomes possible. In the meantime, I'll have aerated tap water that'll be treated. The free chlorine dissipates quickly, so
Right.
just a matter of getting the barrels set up.
If you just put an air on those barrels, you can use it the next day. You don't
Well,
have
and what I did yesterday, I poured sodium thiosulfate
well,
in the
there you go.
hot
Yeah. Yeah.
dissolved it and poured that into the tanks as I was putting
Fill.
water in.
Yeah.
So I didn't run into any stress issues
Yeah.
that way.
Um, and I am. Oh, okay. So King says, I noticed an interesting thing. My 30-inch high deep substrate tank seems to release nitrogen bubbles way more during water changes. Less water column height, no filter running than normal operation.
Uh,
It's denitrification by substrate dependent on the water column height and less filtration running. Is it that? Second part is the question.
Huh. I don't know, King. I doubt it, but I don't know. Is denitrification by substrate dependent on water column height? There would be pressure, water pressure, and less
Right.
with water flow. More pressure than flow? Probably not, since the pressure would not be substantial, differing 6 inches to 18 inches, whereas water flow would. So I would think water flow would be a much more substantial issue than pressure. I don't think you're going to get enough water pressure differential between 6 inches and 18 to 20 inches to make an obvious difference.
Deborah Sanders says, "Isn't Epsom salts magnesium sulfate, not
Sulfate,
sodium?"
not sodium. Yeah, that's right.
Hi, Brianne. Good morning.
Guaranteed analysis.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, this TJ's simplifying. Basically, they're saying the water is, has less pressure when the water's lower, holding the bubble down. Yeah, simplify it.
I don't know. I don't know about all that.
I don't know. Let's get on to something don't look at. I can't do anything scientific.
Work on that.
I
Let's see.
pride myself on just, that I don't know anything. It's really simple that way. We'll let you guys do that. So, anyway, all right. Let's see what else we got coming in. TJ says, "Trust me, I'm a doctor." Okay. All right. So, all right, I don't see any other questions right here. I'm just reading what the last thing Stephen put in. To keep ick under, Robert says, to keep ick under control, add 1 milliliter per gallon of H2O or peroxide to my water after dechlorinating with good success. I guess I'm not quite understanding that.
Garlic.
Yeah, to keep.
Add a milliliter per gallon of peroxide after dechlorinating.
With good success.
Huh.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I thought about dosing with peroxide.
Yeah. But
I could certainly do that.
I don't think but that's not going to kill the parasites.
Yeah, it will actually.
Will it?
In their free swimming state, it will.
In the free swimming stage. Okay. Because I don't think it would kill it. Okay.
Fungus fish, Andy says he doesn't use peroxide because it turns the fish's hair white. I've noticed that.
Yeah, Tisha says about a fish, but her Salvinia is turning brown. What would be the cause? I have also teeny duckweed in the tank. Would they release a chemical that the Salvinia doesn't like? No, that's not it.
Something we can deal with. This is good.
Well, I would say, Tisha, I don't know if you've had Salvinia. Yeah, something we have. I can handle this. It's not technical. Salvinia doesn't like being wet on the top. So if you have that cover down and it's too damp, it basically starts rotting. It needs to be dry on the top and the roots in the water. That's the first thing that comes to mind for me. What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
That works. Yeah. Also, inadequate light.
True, but I mean, moisture will rot salvinia so fast. I mean, it'll rot salvinia, it'll rot frog bit. Any of those surface
Right.
plants need air. If you cap them, they're gonna rot. That's pretty much it.
And yes,
Their survival
I
biology
have
will
used
eventually
old
rot.
tea bags. In fact, I've been dumping tea into
Hmm.
into my into this tank
Yeah. Hmm.
and tea bags into both of them actually, as I recall.
Yeah.
I don't know to what effect particularly, but
It
I'm
can't hurt
doing
anything. It can't hurt
can't,
anything.
can't hurt anything, right? I
Right.
like to do things that can't hurt anything. They usually can't do any good either, but it's like Melafix and Pimafix. They don't really do any good, but smell good and make you feel like you've done something,
Belichick smells great. Yeah, you think you are just,
right?
doing the best thing. I mean, you're not hurting anything. It's just maybe not giving you the a great, effect.
Really. Florida Fish Rescue. Your tank's anoxic. Oh, dear God.
Here we go.
Ah,
Just had to fire him up, didn't you?
no, they're not. Anoxic zone tanks are just deep substrate tanks. Uh, I don't think those words mean what you think they mean. I've got a video coming out today on anoxics. We did a little discussion on it a couple of days ago, and we've captured that. And I've noticed that Naresh has put it up. So within by later in the day, I'll have that and the driftwood video up. Um, so you'll be able to see my take on anoxics. Uh,
Yes, thank you, Lori. If everyone could hit the like button, that would be awesome. Thank you. Yes, good luck, Aquatic Nest. I hope you guys are able to solve whatever the issue is. Um, yes, Tisha, if the tank's not covered and there's plenty of airflow in there and you've cut the light back, then yeah, they probably need some more light.
what is this? Fungus fish.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I'm going to knock them off. That's uncalled for. Totally uncalled for.
Oh, good morning, SAI Aquarium, and welcome. Oh, they're saying goodbye, but welcome. Welcome. Yeah, King. Yeah, you have no cover and all your floating plants. Yeah. I mean, it's just the way it is with floating plants. They need some airflow. They just do.
Right.
If you want to have the sealed top, that's great, but it doesn't usually work well for floating plants. So yeah, Tisha, I would increase the light and see if that doesn't help you. If you're headed out, by why not in Wyoming? Have a good day. Duco, I recently picked up some wood from the marketplace and it has all these little crevices with dead snails and mosses in them. Should I clean them out with a pressure washer or leave them in? Looks kind of cool. I mean, I guess if they've
Right.
been dead a while, you could leave them in, right?
Right.
As long as it's not, like they just died last week, because then that'll foul your water. But I mean, if it's an old piece that has that in there, and I would think you'd be okay. And it probably does look cool. Did anybody ever order
Aqua imports online. No.
Not me, no. Can't help you there. Maybe somebody in here has, and they can help you with that. Yeah.
Huh.
So, anyway, all right. Well, if anybody has a question, now's a good time. We're definitely at the bottom of the chat. Yes, King says my rosy barbs also helped in clearing out algae growth in the edge of the leaves, like staghorn hair algae. So I guess they are a great addition. But yes, probably some plants I can't keep with them. True. But you'll figure it out. You'll figure out which ones work and don't work. But they're just a great fish in general. They're just pretty nice addition to a tank. Yes, James, you're right. If the snails are actually dead in there and they have been dead a long time, yes, it will foul the water. That's why I was saying be sure that
unless there's just nothing left but shell. And the reality is it's not going to be enough to make a difference. But I would want to rinse it out. I'd want to squirt a hose on it and
or just
get all the loose material.
Soak it for a day or two or something in a bucket, wash it around, get the worst of it out before you put it in.
J-Dog wants to add 100 shrimp to his 55-gallon tank all at once. Here's the issue. It's fine so long as they live. 100 shrimp in a tank. If there's nothing in there that's going to eat them up, there's a substantial likelihood that you're going to have a die-off. And the problem with shrimp dying is that one shrimp dies, then two shrimp dies, then four shrimp die, then 8 shrimp die, and before long you've got 100% die-off or a substantial portion die-off. It creates a cascading effect. You're better off typically just putting a few at a time in the tank. Don't try to dump them all in at once. Now, on the other hand, if you've got them in a container where you're likely to have it die off, you may want to get them out of that right away too. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Right.
But just be aware that frequently, particularly with shrimp, throwing a whole big bunch of them, 100 is not a lot. 1,000 is a lot. I've done 1,000 in a tank and had a die off. I've done that more than once. And you lose probably 50% or better. At 100, it's probably not going to be in a 55 much of a problem. If at all, just keep an eye on it. You start to see dead ones, the critical thing is to pull the dead ones out instantly.
Oh, yeah. And Roman has a good idea for you, J-Dog. He's saying feed your fish before adding the shrimp, which I would do. If I was adding shrimp to my tank, I would do the exact same thing. Fill their bellies up so they're not so tempted to try the new shrimp. The other thing that helps, depends on what you keep for fish, but sometimes I'll add things at night when it's dark in the tank, and it gives whatever you're adding in a chance to get off somewhere before everything starts, picking at it.
Ganging up on them, yeah.
And then by morning everything's worked out. I usually have really good luck with that, doing it that way.
Yeah, or putting fish in when you're feeding, so that the attention is taken away from the new guy.
Yep. And that way, once they can get in and the fish see them a little bit, then it's like, oh, okay, whatever,
Stephen's got an interesting observation here, and it's one that deserves to be repeated. we are not we, as um, this hobby is a hobby that fosters individualism and isolation. There are lots of hermits in the fish hobby. I was listening to a comment by Joey the other day who said that the best fish keepers are not on YouTube and never will be because they're hidden away in their basements. And he's absolutely right about that.
Agree with that. Yeah.
So, and we all learn how to do things our own way.
Yeah.
So, but what's wrong is when you find someone is doing something different than you do it, and you start calling them names or make accusations. That's uncalled for in any kind of public forum, and it's one I absolutely will not tolerate in myself or others. I mean, I'll time myself out if need be to, you know, if I get wrothy about
Well,
something.
I mean, you know, we all do things differently. We all have a different way. I mean, you and I do things differently. We're sitting here on this panel, but it doesn't mean we do everything the same way. We don't, but we
Well, no, that's right.
right. We can listen to each other and get ideas and maybe try something and whatever. But um, we're here because we all like fish, and
Right,
we're sharing our
right.
experiences. And as you said, anybody who's kept fish for any amount of time has learned how to do things that work
For
for
them,
them. For
right.
them, whatever the water is, the type of fish you're trying to keep, you figure out a way. And if you can share with somebody else and it helps them, great. But just because I do 5 things doesn't mean that they're absolutely going to work for you. You can try them if you want to.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about. And we learn, and don't feel bad because we all kill fish. Don't feel like you're a bad person or what. It's like that's part of the learning experience. Is you make mistakes and you lose some fish along the way. And you won't make that mistake again, but you'll make other mistakes. We all do. We all make them.
Well, here's a perfect example. Yeah,
Yep.
and yeah, well, let me try to kind of reinforce this. Um, I am confident enough in my fish keeping skills to take the risk of completely blowing it with an entire system of tanks. And that's really what I've done here. Now, I'm gonna backtrack it as much as I can, and I'm gonna rescue as much as I can. But basically, I'm really interested in seeing what happens in this situation. Obviously, if I've got a parasite or something that's threatening the life of the fish, I'm going to deal with it. I'm not going to just let it go until they're laying on the bottom, rotting and fouling the tank. It's not
Right.
like that, you
Right.
know. I mean, I've done that too, but that's not what I'm about here. What I'm really about here is is allowing these tanks, to the extent that they can do it reasonably well, to sort themselves out and to create a natural, healthy environment. And that's what I'm anticipating is going to happen. Obviously, I've got an issue with these rainbows and probably with the convict. So I'm going to have to deal with that.
Yeah. Right. And save what you can, and then you'll get the tank straightened out, and you won't use that water again, maybe.
Well, or if I do, I'm going to wait until it's a little different.
Yeah.
I'll use it after a rain. My
Yeah.
notion really was to try to do rainwater, and I brought barrels with me. I've got 4 large 70-gallon barrels,
Yeah.
so I've got adequate resources to be able to hold enough water to do everything I need to do. I did not set that up. I wanted to try the creek water,
Yeah.
because if it worked, it would be phenomenal. And I'm
Yeah.
not convinced it's working. It
Right.
certainly is working with the natives. The
Yes.
natives seem to love it. They've got an ability to deal
Well,
with whatever is in that water.
yeah. Good morning, Randy Ronan. And I don't know exactly what you're talking about, the Chevy fish, but I'm looking at your comment, and you're 100% right. Some fish just in general have a short lifespan. And the other thing we've touched on briefly, on different shows, is the fact that a lot of these fish are sold when they're older. I see that, I'll go in and look at a tank of guppies and realize, I mean, they're over a year old. They're already past their prime. They probably used them as breeders or whatever, and then they sold them. And so people sometimes are purchasing fish that don't have much of a lifespan left, and then they don't last long, and they think they've done something wrong. And it's like, no, the fish was already, its life was already half over before you purchased it. You know,
Yeah.
um, and that's a fact. Especially with the live bears and um, some of the other fish. It's like, it's not anybody's fault. It's just, they don't realize those fish are old when they buy them. That's the nature of the business. Good morning, Jess. Good morning, Abolished. And happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone
And
again.
Bert Dunlap wants to know if a wombat is kin to a codswallop, and I think he knows the answer to that. Uh, and that's a borderline comment there, Bert Dunlap. I'm gonna let it slide this time, but watch yourself, buddy. Uh,
Hello, Guppy Grass Galore.
uh,
Morning. So,
Bruce
anyway,
Aquatic considers himself a troll, not a hermit. That's pretty good. They're a
what do you,
little bit of both. They're kind of the same. Robert's asking about almond leaves. Good point.
yeah. I
Wombat.
feed, I feed, okay, so he's saying I feed fish from my local pond to my shrimp. Should I first cook it or feed it raw, thinking about chopping them up into smaller pieces?
Do not cook.
Yeah.
You want to always feed raw.
I mean,
Always.
chopping it up wouldn't hurt if you've got smaller fish.
Right. Right. Right.
Mincing it up however you can do it. Um, you know, that's not a bad idea. That's kind of like what I was talking about with the garlic or whatever. You got to get it down to a size that a small fish can eat. Absolutely.
So, J Dog, are you feeding these shrimp as food? I mean, you're putting them in the tank as food or to keep them alive as a shrimp tank? I guess I didn't get clear about that.
Oh, that's true. The 100 shrimp he wants to put in. Yeah. I just assumed they were ornamental because otherwise they would just be food pretty quickly, I would think. I don't know.
World's smallest fish room is asking pro and cons of rainwater. Well,
And there are pros and cons.
there are absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, the con with rainwater is that it is neutral water. It has no carbonates in it, and so it's not going to hold a stable pH. Usually, the pH of rainwater runs between 6.5 and 7.0.
I'd say
7.0
more.
being optimal, 6.5 being so-called acid rain.
Right.
Um, but the difficulty with it is that because there are no carbonates, dissolved solids, it can't hold the pH stable. So if you put it in a tank and start using it, the biological activity is going to cause the pH to drop precipitously. And it could and will get down to 6.0 pretty quickly. So it needs buffering typically.
Right. We're not knocking the rainwater, TJ. We're just explaining how to use the rainwater. I mean, if that's what you use, you just
It's
figure out how
rainwater.
to use it with your fish.
It's
Um,
it's it is rainwater, RO water, spring water,
right.
distilled water are all basically the same thing. RO, distilled, rain, and spring. They're all water that has little or no dissolved minerals in them, and that has a going in pH of roughly 7.0. That can be down a little below that, but will not be above that. Um, in the case of spring water, it might be if that water is going through some mineralized strata in the ground where it's picking up carbonates or other dissolved minerals. But the benefit of it is you have perfectly clear, clean, pure water, which the fish will love. The problem with it is that if it cannot hold a pH, it's going to drop precipitously, and that'll create other issues. There are fish that prefer to be in soft acid water. There are other fish that prefer to be in hard alkaline water. I have always had hard alkaline water, so I've never really had the luxury of keeping fish in soft acid water.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Dees is going to use rainwater to try to breed his neon blue rasboras and rummy nose rasboras. And that should be a really interesting experiment. We'll be excited to hear how that works out.
Yeah. Um, Good morning, 1:30 Platy.
Duco wants to add a chicken shell to increase calcium. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Grind it up. In fact, if you can, the finer you can grind it, the more it'll dissolve in the water and release calcium into the water.
Yeah. A lot of people warn to pull out that thin, I don't know what you call it, that thin layer inside the shell. A lot of people don't like adding that in. And yes, Randy
Right.
Roan Cuttlebone is good.
Yeah.
I like oyster shell. I use the oyster shell that you buy to feed chickens. I'll
Yeah.
put
It's
that.
all the same. It's all the same thing.
Yeah,
It's all calcium that's created by an animal, by an
or
organic instrumentation, if you will.
you can use the crushed coral as well, but I find that the oyster shell doesn't create that such a calcified layer. It doesn't get as crusty as the coral will if you just put that on the top of your substrate. Um, I don't know, but like you said, it all works. It
Yeah,
all works.
kernel bone's another one. That's right.
Yeah.
Any kind of bone, like bone meal. I put bone meal in my mixture because it provides a lot of calcium.
Yeah. All right. Randy had I was like, I can't think of the membrane of the eggshell. I'm like, yeah, that white part. Yeah. Just couldn't think of it. And the other thing you can do too, if you don't want to add it to your substrate or you've got to hang on the back, is you can always put anything like that inside like a nylon and just run that in,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
your
Right.
filter in the back if you don't want to mess up the way something looks or whatever, which I get. Sometimes there's some, things that you want to keep a tank a certain way. So you can get the same effect without throwing it in your substrate or on top of your substrate.
Yeah, coral makes the pH go up. Well, that's right. It increases carbonates, which allows for the water to become for the pH to rise.
Oh, Sunset Jen says I bake my eggshells to harden the membrane before grinding it up. Okay,
Huh.
cool. Interesting idea. See, that's what's great about us being here and sharing. Is there's so many different
Right.
ways and things that everyone has thought of doing, trying, experimenting with. Oh, I guess from like my chat just wanted to go away. Okay, there we go.
Tam is what is Tam referring to?
Well, I don't know why we're Dunlap. He says when I buy nylons at the store, clerks give me funny looks. Ah, funny. That's all right. Just man up and buy the nylons. It's all good. It's all good.
Viking dogmanship. 1017.
Oh,
Somebody,
welcome. Welcome. Thank you. I missed
somebody
you.
do. Hello, hello.
Good morning. Good morning. I mean, I know everybody's worried about how much that sends your pH up, but I mean, I've had a lot of oyster shell and stuff like that. And then, I mean, I don't test, but I've never had any problems with my fish, you know? All right, what's going on with this? I think the dog's unplugged my power cord. I'm like, all of a sudden, it's like, you're low. Like, but it's plugged in. What's going on? You know? Your legs are fine without nylons. Okay. Okay. You're confident. Okay. It's all good.
Different strokes, different folks.
That's right.
All right. Well, it's
That's
been.
right. That's right, TJ. TJ says we have many buffers to choose from. That's right.
Ain't
Well,
that
I
the
think
truth?
I think the thing about putting them all out there is that, you know, somebody can find at least one of those. You know, it's like, you know, there's 5 or 6 things that you can get. And almost anybody, I assume, can get an eggshell. You know, worst case scenario, we can all find some eggshells, you know, um, if you can't find any of the other things to use. So, we're still on the nylons? Yeah, but nylons make them silky.
A lot of, you know, I
Man,
don't
you're
know.
the nylons and you guys all go nuts. You're afraid of the nylons. It's funny. Making me laugh. Making me laugh. So, Kim, good morning. Oh, Viking dogmanship. How often do you clean your tank? It looks so clear. I do water changes once a week, but don't look as clear as yours. I assume you're talking about my tank behind me, I guess. Um, Mine, I do a 50% water change about every 3 weeks. Rinse out the sponges that are in my hang on the back, and that's what I do. Do you want to give Viking dogmanship a wrench for the fish?
I was just looking at his comment. I guess we have a member of the club here. Viking, you are now blue.
We got a fish person, that's for sure.
Right.
Good mother. Good morning. Good morning, Amanda. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Ah,
Filter change.
Amanda
Viking,
heard the comments about nylon. Couldn't stay away.
I have it's a 110 aqua clear on the back, and I just have 2 big pieces of sponge in there. And when I do my water change, I pull that off. I rinse my sponges out and put it right back on. So I don't use cartridges. I don't use any carbon or anything like that. It's just basically, you know, like a big sponge holder. And that's what I use. And cheap, because I'm not buying carbon and cartridges and, you know.
Oh, Jeffrey's talking about chalk, using chalk. There are different kinds of chalk. You need to make sure that what you have for chalk is in fact calcium based and not a plastic material.
Yeah. Hi, DJ. Glad you're listening while driving to work. Thanks for being here.
You bet
Um,
they
Viking, no, I have two real plants in there, and the other two are plastic.
Monster Fish Gal just posted Good Mother's link. Is she here?
Yeah, I just said good morning, good
Oh,
mother.
there she
Good
is.
morning, Amanda.
Absolutely. Listen, if any of you,
I realize you don't listen to me. It's okay. It's okay.
right, that's true. I don't.
Uh,
Hello, Amanda. Good Mother, Precious Tranquility, Amanda Fox, one of the utter delights of my life, has a channel um, where she has been talking about social issues for a number of months now, and it's really taking on a life of its own. It is getting some real in depth stuff. Check out her channel. It's called Good Mother. The link is posted. Well worth watching and well worth following. She posts streams daily, sometimes two or three in a day, sometimes short, sometimes long. Frequently, either following up on something she's been watching, or bringing people up on screen with her to do interviews. Remarkable site, and increasingly so, and one I think everyone can enjoy and appreciate. Serious stuff, not pleasantries. Very little pleasantry. Really very serious stuff. But again, well worth plugging into and being part of. Thanks, Amanda, for being here. Good to see you.
Good morning, Roz. That's one of my other sisters, Roz. Good morning. And Mick Gardner, I'm glad you made it in today. He's new. Thank you for coming in.
Gardner, yes, hello,
And
hello.
yeah, happy St. Patrick's Day. Glad to see you here.
We'll give Mick a wrench.
All right. Because he says he finally made it to live, so I'm assuming he watches replays or whatever. So, yes, absolutely.
Right, right.
Thank you for the support and welcome. And everybody can hit the like button for Father Fish. I'll remind you again. The ladies, I know Miss Chevy Fish and Lori have been reminding, and thank you both for being here and greeting and dropping links and just being awesome
You bet.
because you are.
You bet.
So, and there's some chat.
All right, we're gonna go after
Gonna wrap it up.
a strike today.
Oh
I get,
no, we get a
I
strike
get a,
everything you said.
I get a copyright strike every day. Yeah, because I play this beautiful song that
No.
Naresh has created, which I deeply love. The puppies hear the music.
Okay, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Stephen, for coming over. Great to have you with us.